This music literally hurts your ears, but I cannot stop listening to it because it is absolutely incredible. You ready for this? You're not. Trust me, you're not ready for this. What? Yo! Literally what just happened? Okay, so what is this? Why does it hurt to listen to, but why does it sound so good? Well, the answer is you're hearing 1-bit music. More specifically, 1-bit music written by the legendary Tim Follin. Hey, you know a great way to play music and not have it hurt your ears like this? How about just play the piano? And right now, our best-selling piano course, where we've helped tens of thousands of people learn how to play the piano. It's my intro to piano course, and we just put it 30% off. If you want to grab it, use the code LEARNPIANO30. It's in the description. You just copy and paste it at checkout. But that's it. Just use code LEARNPIANO30. You'll get 30% off. That makes it under $100, and you keep the course forever. It's got all the material, and anytime we update the course, you get the updates too. That's literally how I do everything on this channel. It's like how I understand the music that I listen to and be able to just tell you how it's built. It's using the piano. And that course actually goes over a lot of how to just start out on the instrument, but then it covers a lot of basic music theory stuff as well. It'll put you well on your way to being able to listen to ear bleed music and be able to tell you exactly how it's written, even when it's written incredibly like this. And that's how I support the channel here. Rather than taking sponsorships from companies that neither you or I really care about, I wanted to create something that could actually help you on your journey in getting better at music. So I took everything that I've learned over my more than 20 years playing the piano and packaged it how I would want to explain to me if I was learning for the first time right now. And that is what you get in the intro to piano. It's tons and tons of instructional videos and also tons of exercises as well. It'll get you started even if you've never played before. It'll teach you everything you need to know. So grab that for 30% off for a limited time. There's a link in the description down below. Thank you so much for your support. It does a ton to help the channel. Let's keep going. We talked about Tim's music in a video a while ago, highlighting the brilliance of some NES games that he wrote the music for, like none other than Pictionary, the 1990 game Solstice, and even his incredible work on random games like Magic Johnson's Fast Break. But all of these share something that this doesn't. They were all soundtracks written for the NES, which was an 8-bit gaming system with 5 dedicated sound channels. What we're talking about today is far more basic than that. And it required an absolutely insane imagination and skill set to get anything that sounds even remotely close to this. But then, oh man, so like a B minor 9 chord? What on earth? Whoa, drop it a whole step. Oh, and there's inner voice movement. There's all this inner voice movement going on. Whoa! We've done B minor 9, A minor 9, now we're back to B minor 9, now like B flat minor 9. This is insane. What? Somehow we ended up on F. This is insane. It's crazy. And it's all a bunch of computer trickery. So why does this sound so good and why does it hurt to listen to? Well, it all comes back to the ZX Spectrum, or if we want to be technically correct, especially for the market that it was sold in, the ZX Spectrum. We're gonna go with that for this video because it's technically correct. It is so not in my vocabulary and I'll probably forget a bunch of times, but it is the ZX Spectrum and it was released in the UK in 1982. And it played a huge role in the development of home personal computing, especially the development of early video games, with tons of titles including icons like Jet Set Willy, Renegade, RoboCop, and tons of others. And the reason that this music sounds the way that it does is because of the insane limitations of the way that the ZX Spectrum created sound. All it had was a single built-in device called a beeper. It was basically like a small built-in loudspeaker. And while it had the ability to span a range of 10 octaves, it only had the ability to be either on or off. How on earth do you compose music with that? Yet still, Tim figured it out at the ripe old age of 15. And he made things like the soundtrack to Agent X in 1985. Oh, literally right there in the beginning. That was so cool. So we have this like thing going on, but then we also have, so this is like D flat. Then we have a B major chord, all while this is going on. Then we get an A major chord while we're still here on D flat, right? But then this chord that we have coming back up. It adds the major seventh to that B major chord, right? And that creates this really cool sound where we have that is just so sick, and it's so hard to hear because this is quite literally painful to the ears, but it's full of such rich, incredible music. What? Some type of A arpeggio going on there. B, A, amazing. But it was literally painful to hear. I mean, if you played this for the entire 3-minute duration, you'd hear some incredibly written music, but boy, would your ears bleed. Wait a second! Wow! Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. This is nuts because when we're here, we hear a B major chord outline, but we're still holding on to this. And then all we do is we go up a minor third in chromatic steps. Check that out. Now, what is this chord actually? This is like it's a sus chord, right? Right, because we have a C sharp, and we have just a stacked fourths with a third on the top. That's a C sharp sus chord. We're just gonna walk it up in half steps. And now we're on E, and we're playing like a D over E, right? And we can just resolve that to an E major 7. Listen to this. E major. And then we get D over E again. Woo-hoo! Oh, and then it goes into the 6th solo. It's incredible. There's just so much in here. Okay, so for the time being, I'll save your ears from bleeding even more. The thing that I'm still consistently blown away by is how do you get something that is only capable of being turned on or off to do this? Well, the answer will blow your mind even further. The ZX Spectrum's beeper used a form of BASIC, which was a series of coding languages, and here you could use the beep command and add a pitch value and a duration value. And then the actual beeper was either on or off using that data. That's it. That's really all there was. Okay, cool. So that tells us how we can generate a note, and with the duration, the ability to change pitches, it tells us how we could write a line of music. That's cool. But like, we're hearing polyphony. We're hearing chords, we're hearing harmony, we're hearing dynamics. How is this possible? Well, to start, real brief, let's talk about pulse width modulation. Sounds complicated, it really isn't. Just bear with me for a second. You need to know this, and it's super simple. So the beeper makes a sound that can either be off or on. If it's off, that looks like this, then we turn it on, it goes up like this, and then we can turn it off again, and what you have resulting is a square wave. But here's the thing, it takes time for the beeper to move from off to on. It's a very small amount of time, but it's there nonetheless. Rather than looking like this, if you zoomed way in, you could almost think of it as looking like this. There's off, and then there's an amount of space before it turns on. This is like time, right? So we have time. Wow, that's terrible. Well, what if I don't want full power? Well, check this out. I can actually cut the signal telling this thing to turn off before it gets to full power. So instead of actually getting here, we might cut it, tell it to stop when it's on the way up, on its way to being fully on. So by sending the turn off instruction to the beeper faster than the amount of time it takes to get to full power, we can now create a spectrum of available volumes. We can cut it here over and over again, and it'll only get this loud, or then we can increase that to here, and it'll only get that loud. A little louder, but still not fully on.
These go to 11.
And we just do that over and over and over again, seemingly instantly. Literally, this is how Tim got the thing to create dynamics. It is absolutely nuts. Think about that for a second. He literally created volume by cutting the power on and off so quickly that the thing isn't even able to fully turn on. So when you listen to insane compositions like the soundtrack to Chronos, you can hear a range of dynamics like we hear in music normally. Check that out. This one is out of tune significantly, but it's kind of close to that, right? We have these arpeggios going from F, G, A flat, B flat, and now we're in C. Yo! B flat minor 7. That's it, right? So it's almost like we have like G minor 7 to C, keeping G in the bass. And then why it sounds so cool, because we go from here up to B flat, we go up a minor 3rd. You'll notice this is the second time in just a couple of tracks that we've looked at from Tin Fallen, sorry Tim, that we've used these minor 3rds going up, and it sounds so cool. Yeah. Ooh, that's so out of tune. Okay, so in Chronos and in all this other stuff, we hear chords. Like, we've literally been sitting here breaking down the insane harmony that Tim uses in his music. But if this is 1-bit music where the sound can only be turned on or off, then how do we even begin to create chords? The answer is literally magic. More specifically, insanely clever coding. Tim basically tricked the machine into creating chords. Now, I'm not a programmer or an electrical engineer, so many apologies if this seems like an oversimplification of how this process works. But check it out. We already established that pulse width modulation can rapidly switch the thing on and off to create the illusion of volume. While we're doing that, why don't we just also rapidly switch between notes? The human ear can hear up to like 20,000 hertz, so as long as we're switching notes faster than that rate, we won't be able to hear anything switching, and it'll just sound like a chord. Literally just do this insanely fast, and you'll end up with that. What? Now, there are a couple technicalities here that I'm not quite fully explaining. One being that there's actually a frequency rate of, like, for example, like A440 hertz. Within that rate, if we assume that there's no amount of time that the note has to be triggering, well, then we can use the empty space within that frequency to trigger a secondary chain of other pulses at a different frequency. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I understand all of it, but it gets pretty gnarly. Also, later versions of the ZX Spectrum actually introduced a sound chip that was capable of 3 channels. So that expanded the capability as well. But the important thing to realize here is like just how insane it is that composers like Tim Fallen were able to create anything at all on these incredibly primitive computers, let alone things that sound like music, let alone things that sound like this. What? Something like that? Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my God, it doesn't make any sense. It's not fair. Dude was doing this at 15. No formal music training, just a curiosity in how to code. And apparently the greatest ear ever. Tim, what were you listening to, man? As much as it hurts to listen to, it's absolutely incredible and is way more musically developed than it has any business being. I just had to geek out over this stuff because I've just been completely blown away every time I listen to one of these old 1-bit tracks. I mean, yikes! And these are not the only games, and Tim isn't the only composer, although I think he's one of the greatest ever. There's a whole world of this stuff. So I want to know in the comments below, what did you grow up playing? Were any of these games part of your repertoire? Did you remember any of this music? What are some other games that I should take a look at? Because this stuff just continuously blows me away. Anyways, that's all. I wanted to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.